Now let's go to a more extraordinary point. David Cruz, the intelligence officer, now offers to testify before the United States Congress that his country was in possession of biological remains and that he knew where they were. That he told the congressman, untold so far from Pentagon has not agreed to release this information and allow congressmen to witness these biological remains. Here today, we are going to present two beings that were recovered in Peru in a diatom mine. They are dried bodies found between the cities of Palpa and Nazca in 2017 that have been deeply investigated both by investigative journalists and by scientists who here today are going to make known some of their extraordinary conclusions. I want to first call first of all the researchers Joyce Mantala, who has investigated this topic from the first moment that have already been discovered. We are going to discover at this moment these bodies that, according to the scientists who are going to declare it, here are beings, not non-human, that are not part of our terrestrial evolution, and that after they disappear, there is no subsequent. Salakiakim, the translation stopped. But as you can see here, this is the supposed alien that was displayed the other day by in Mexico to the Mexican Congress. And we're going to get into this in just a bit. But before we get into this, let's watch this.
Scientists in Mexico pulling back the curtain on what they believe are aliens and put two of those corpses on display. Take a look. These small mummified specimens were unveiled at Mexico's first ever UFO hearing yesterday. Yeah, it looks like E.T. You're right. The alleged alien corpses were found in Peru. They're believed to be 700 to 1,800 years old. They only had 3 fingers and elongated heads. X-rays of the aliens were also shown, and experts say one of the bodies has eggs inside of it. Maybe we could have alien babies.
A lot going on in Peru.
Yeah.
Right. So is this real? Do people believe this?
I don't know.
As Leslie Lopez says, we want DNA samples.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we're eventually going to find out that aliens look nothing like we think they look.
No.
It look nothing like E.T.
It looks like a stone carving. It really does.
It does.
What is that?
I don't know.
This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Shalom Akim, Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So, as we just watched the Mexican Congress, or at least the hearing at the Mexican Congress of the revealing of these two so-called aliens, which, to declare off the top, these are not aliens. This is a hoax. And we're going to get into why that is. I'm going to prove it in just a bit. But again, here's some of the screenshots taken from that conference of x-rays that were taken of these figures. And you can see this is what they say are the eggs, but it's kind of ridiculous. And also another thing too, the skeletal remains of this are just they don't appear to be functioning. And the video we're going to get into is going to prove that this is all it couldn't work. So again, these images are all MRIs that were taken of it. And again, don't be fooled by the red and what looks like bone coloring here, because remember, that's all added in after the fact. This could easily and more likely is just plaster, right? Plaster or some sort of resin. Okay, but so here you go. We've got the vertebrae, the skull. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. You see, what's happening right now in Mexico is that the powers that be are trying to bring out an alien deception upon the face of the earth. See, they're trying to scare the world with aliens abducting that Malaysian flight, right, where they show UFOs going around the plane, and then the plane all of a sudden disappears. UFOs appearing next to airplanes, and then releasing some black smoke and then flying away. Now, you had the Army whistleblower come out and says that America is in possession of alien bodies. And then now you got Mexico coming out with a silly display of what they call so-called aliens, right? But again, this is all the works of Satan. When I say Satan, I'm talking about the spiritual being who is putting it on his people being the Caucasian race, or who biblically are known as the Edomites, to put on this grand deception where they're going to try to freak out the people of the world, so that way the world will go along with their plans to weaponize space and get ready for the true invasion, that being the second coming of the Messiah. And in doing so, they have to bring out all these little props and all these little stories, enough to basically just flood the market, so that way aliens becomes a known topic, and basically everybody will start talking about it. This is 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned onto fables. So you see, what's happening is the people of the world have itchy ears. See, they want to get a deep explanation of what's going on. They want all these movies that they've been indoctrinated with over the past couple of decades to be true. And this is really the reason why Esau has brought out all these alien movies, from Encounters of the Third Kind, or Close Encounters, Aliens, E.T., and all these different movies were all done to put this into the mind of the populace, so that way they could be looking for aliens instead of the angels, right? And this is that grand deception that is going on right now. But let's watch this and let's see how this is actually debunked. This is a video from 2 years ago where this actually was debunked. Let's watch it.
So what do we see? Same stuff. A hodgepodge of human and animal bones. Here's a mummy named Josephine. A real beauty. Instead of humeri, she sports femurs or thigh bones. Her legs are even more baffling. One of the thigh bones is actually a femur, only facing the wrong way around, while the other one is a tibia. And they are completely mismatched. With the hip bone, there's no joint there at all. The poor humanoid wouldn't have made a single step. Some of the bones are simply chopped off. Note this asymmetry here. The fingers are a total mess too. The first pseudophalanges are facing in different directions on her left and right hands, with the white part facing up or down. Well, they just forgot to turn them the right way. Stuff happens. And look at this alien head. French paleontologist Julien Benoit thinks that those who crafted the small humanoid mummies used skulls of some small mammals for their heads, such as a llama or alpaca. Comparison shows that the reptiloid's cranial cavity fits perfectly the cranial cavity of a llama. The location of the olfactory bulbs, the inner ear, the brain hemispheres and the cerebellum precisely matches those in a llama skull. The whole facial part of the skull was broken off, leaving only the brain case. The skull was then rotated so its back part faces forward. The reptiloid's face is actually the back of the poor llama's head. Paleontologist Rodolfo Salas Gismondi is of the same opinion.
So you see, that's the truth, Hakim. These devils are trying to push forward an already debunked mummified remains that were created. Okay? And notice how they had these mummies just laying here, just these, ceremonious manner, right? Where in the video that we've seen, they're all here in these nice boxes with satin cloth, and and the weird thing about it is that they have all this dirt around them as if they just were dug. See, they're trying to give an appearance that these are right out of the cave, and because again they have an agenda to push. They're trying to deceive the masses, and the sad part is that a lot of people, because they want this to be true, they're going to believe it, and that's just because they haven't looked into it. They don't know what the truth behind these little figures are. This is Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. And that's what's happened. Our people have forgotten who we were. They've forgotten the majesty and the amazingness of what the Bible actually talks about. Other dimensional beings, superpowers, right? Godlike Superman, right? Powers that we read about in comic books are all there in the Bible. And this isn't fiction, this is truth. But you see, Esau, having to twist the narrative of the world, he has brought out fiction and sci-fi, and this has polluted the minds of people. And the people, namely, especially our people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, have eaten it up, and they push hard for their beliefs, even if they know they're lying and they're making up these little figures to deceive the masses. They believe that it's for a greater good. This is Colossians 2:8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceits, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after the Messiah. You see, these traditions of men and the rudiments of the world, that's the sci-fi, that's all these alien movies, that's this whole notion that the gray aliens or the little gray men are aliens from another part of the universe. See, these are the rudiments of the world, the system that Esau has set up to deceive us. But again, like this is warning, right? Do not fall for the philosophy and the vain deceit of these Edomites that are bringing forth this alien deception. So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahshai, B'Hashem Rakak Radash. Shalom.